Hi, I'm Brenton Miegel from Goldsborough Financial Services. Welcome to another of our video presentations. Please remember that this is not actual advice. I'm looking to give you some information, and today's topic, we're going to spend some time talking about redundancy packages. A redundancy comes about as a result of the job or task or work that you've been doing being made redundant. It's as a result of your employer perhaps downsizing or being merged with another company, and there are duplications of jobs, and so particular positions are needing to be made redundant. A redundancy is a lump sum payment that you would receive, and that can include a severance payment. It can include long service and annual leave entitlements, in very rare instances sick leave. There are some tax implications regarding the redundancy that I'll talk about in a moment. But the other important thing with redundancies is that in some instances it can be voluntary. It's what's called a targeted voluntary separation package. But in other instances it's a redundancy package that's forced upon you and you're required to take it. So the entitlements when you receive a redundancy package are the severance payment itself. That's a payment that's based on your term of employment with the employer, and it's paid as a number of weeks of income. The other entitlements that you would generally receive are any accumulated long service leave entitlement or annual leave entitlement, and potentially some sick leave, but that's in pretty rare instances. You are generally required, particularly in the forced redundancy situation, to accept the package. In a voluntary situation, you may be looking at being offered the opportunity to express an interest in the package, and you might put in that expression of interest but not necessarily receive the redundancy. But if you do put in the expression of interest and you then look at accepting it, the package is paid to you at a particular point in time. I'm often asked the question, can I ask for more than what's being paid as the redundancy? The answer is yes, but you're going to be pretty lucky because most employers have got a set budget for which their redundancy payments have to come from, and they're not likely to move from that too much. The first thing to bear in mind with a redundancy package is that depending on the number of years of service you have, part of the severance payment you receive will be tax-free. The tax-free amount, as I say, is based on years of service, and there's a government legislated formula that's used to calculate that. My suggestion is that when you get your redundancy details, have a chat with your financial planner and he or she can confirm whether the amount that you're receiving tax-free is appropriate and correct. Your annual and long service leave is all paid out with tax paid at 31.5 cents in the dollar, which is the middle tax bracket, if you like. That doesn't change even if you're on a higher tax bracket or if you're on a lower tax bracket. The million-dollar question: you receive a redundancy package, you've got a large amount of money that's been put in the bank, what do I do with it? My immediate response is it depends on your own individual situation. For some people, paying off debts such as mortgages, personal loans, car loans, credit cards is appropriate. For others, taking the time to think about what to do with the money is equally as appropriate. My immediate reaction to that question of what should I do with the money is seek professional advice. A financial planner can help understand where you're going financially, what those implications are. It could be, for example, that adding the money to superannuation as part of your retirement planning to then get an income stream is appropriate. The other important thing to look at is how long will it be before I obtain another job? Or have I got another job lined up, or am I retiring from this workplace? If you're retiring, then seeking professional advice is critical. If you're not sure about future employment, then having funds aside to be able to help meet living expense requirements, that's going to be equally as important. I'm often asked by people, when is the right time to take a redundancy package? It depends on your employer, is the first response. Often you don't get any choice with the timing for the redundancy. However, if you do get offered an opportunity to choose your timing, my suggestion is always early in the financial year. The reason for that? Because you're working, you're earning income, and you get towards the end of the financial year, so May or June, you may find that the redundancy package you receive tips you over into a higher tax bracket or has some more significant taxation implications that need to be considered. So, my suggestion is, if you've got the opportunity to choose, early in the financial year, July or August. However, if you don't get any choice, then roll with the punches. For those of you that have got children and you're receiving family tax benefits, it's really, really important to approach Centrelink as soon as you receive your redundancy package. Why do I say that? The last thing you need when you do your taxation return for the financial year in which you get the redundancy is a letter from the tax office to say, hey, you owe us X thousands of dollars because you were overpaid your family tax benefits. Yes, there are going to be implications from a Centrelink point of view of receiving a redundancy package, but remember, you're going to have a large amount of money sitting in the bank that is going to be able to cover living costs, and it's really important not to end up with a liability for Centrelink purposes. So in conclusion, when you get a letter that says you've been offered a redundancy package, it doesn't necessarily mean the sky's going to fall in. Yes, there are emotional and financial consequences of that redundancy package, particularly for those that have been with their employer for a long time. The consideration for leaving the employer, potentially not seeing workmates and colleagues as often as before, that's really difficult to get your head around, but to be comfortable with. From a financial point of view, in my experience, most people who accept a redundancy package end up significantly better off, particularly those that are in a position where they're going to get employment fairly shortly after leaving the previous employer. So, redundancy packages don't mean the end of the world. A redundancy package means going and getting professional advice, and my suggestion for that professional advice is that as soon as you're made aware that a redundancy package is imminent, whether you've got your final figures or not, doesn't matter. Seek out a financial planner, sit down with them, help them understand your situation, and they will help you to then work through all of the implications that are associated with that redundancy. I hope you found the video useful, and I would recommend that you seek professional advice in a situation where you're looking to get a redundancy package. And good luck with it all.